Hello, I want to demonstrate the steps that I'm taking to set up OpenSSH on my computer to connect to the remote machine or student server using a public or public / private key instead of a password. So begin by sharing my screen. So let's start by opening up a terminal. So let's just, we can actually log into the server now. Oops. Okay, and see how it requires a password. Okay. So let's see if we have the SSH folder. We do not. Oops. It's not here. That's okay. So let's exit and then let's generate a key. So first I'll move over to the SSH folder on my machine here. And we can see that I have some created. This RSA is for my GitHub account. Establishing a secure SSH secure cell connection with my GitHub so that I can use GitHub commands from the repositories that I've set up, which are here. And so if I wanted to, I could move to those repositories, and I could get the status. Oops. So that way, instead of copying the files onto my GitHub account via the web browser, for example, Java programs, I can just upload them and to the repository through the command line here. Let's go back to the SSH folder. Zoom in. So here we'll generate a key. So we'll use the ssh-keygen command. And in this case, I'll use, so I could use DSA. I already have that established. That's what I did in the assignment initially. Actually, I'd like to try the elliptic curve version. So let's do that instead. SSH-keygen, and then we'll just use the default file name and passphrase. Okay, so it looks like that was successful. You can see that the elliptic curve DSA has been created. Okay, now let's go ahead and you can also use the dir command to list the contents here. So just to check and see if we have ssh-copy-id. This is on my CygWin instance. Now I have actually SSH lives in a both in the OpenSSH and on the CygWin instance. I believe there were two different methods that we could employ here. The first one, I can actually open up an SFTP connection, and copy the files onto the server directly. However, I don't think we, as we saw earlier, the SSH directory is not created there. And I think if we use the SSH copy-id command, that will actually create the directory for us. See if I try to change directory, no such file. So let's exit here. And I believe I could use FileZilla to accomplish the same thing. In this case, let me clear all this. I think what we'll do is we'll open up a CygWin instance. So let me log into this CygWin. Okay, right, we are in. This is the home folder on my CygWin instance. Okay. So we will use, so this actually has a SSH, where SSH and where SSH dash copy dash ID. So that's where that program lives here in the CygWin instance. So we'll need to use a direct path or absolute path name. So we'll use ssh dash copy dash ID dash I C backslash users, my username, and then I believe just ID underscore ECDSA, and then the student, the account and hostname. So here it's copying the public key. Now it's prompting me for a password. Number of keys added. So we want to make sure that the key was added. So I can exit CygWin, or I can log in from CygWin. Actually, I can actually copy those output those contents of that public key from CygWin here. And there it is. Let me try that again. Yeah, there you go. So clear. And so there's our public key for the elliptic curve DSA. Okay, so let's log into the student server here. Our password. Okay. So now that we are in, really quick, I'm going to copy this over to a notepad. And we'll say that this is from the Windows. This is from this file here. This is the output of that command. So now let's go back into our connection. And let's list the contents of the .ssh directory, which I believe was created. Right. So here it is. It did not exist before. Now it does, thanks to that ssh-copy-id command that we executed just a moment ago. It creates the directory and the authorized keys configuration file for me. And so I can list the contents of that directory, and we'll see authorized key was created. So let's go ahead and output the contents of that file. Okay, so that will be lsa-la authorized keys. Oh, actually, I meant cat. I meant to use the cat command here. Okay, there it is. Great. So this is the output. It looks very similar. So let's go ahead and just put it out one more time. I'll copy that into all of this. I'll copy that into Notepad++. And now let's do a search on the initial. This says word rep enabled. So I don't actually, it looks identical to me, but let's just confirm. We'll take this, do Control F. And so I'm looking for this entire string. We'll count the number of matches, and there's 2. You can see it finds both of these. So the public key that's been copied from my computer to the remote machine are identical. And they are in the authorized keys file, config file here. Okay, so that looks good. So now the next step is to, I'm following the steps exactly how I put them in the documentation or the document that I submitted. So let's open up a SSH connection. So I'll log out and exit again, and I'll open up a new terminal. And if I recall from the lecture, this is very similar to what I believe in the lecture. When you establish when you copied over the public key using SFTP instead of the ssh-copy-id, you were able to log in to the secure shell immediately without using a password. I know that I can disable the password in the sshd_config file, but and disable the password authentication, forbid it. But last time I tried that, it actually locked me. I was effectively locked out of my machine. So I'm not going to do that again today. So let's just try to establish connection. Let's correct IP. All right, there it worked. So it looks like I do not need to. It must have been the DSA. So I guess ECDSA is the way to go. Well, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll get full credit for the assignment now.